writing them at that time. Buddhist texts usually open with the words, "Thus have I heard." This reflects the fact that they are being recounted and that what follows are not necessarily the actual words of the Buddha. Schisms in the order. During the first 100 years after the demise of the Buddha, some disciples began to specialize in studying the discourses of the Buddha, the suttas, and others made a study of the rules of behavior, the Vinaya, said to have been devised by the Buddha. This specialization led to debate, and these debates, it is thought, led to the schisms which followed. 100 years later, in about 340 BCE, a second council was called. It was at this time that a very important split took place. This resulted in what basically became two factions known as the Great Sangha, the Mahasanghikas, and the Shtaviras, meaning the elders. This division was primarily the result of a dispute about the qualities needed for one to become a holy one, an arahant. During the following century, various other schisms took place on the question of doctrine, the rules of the Buddhist order, and a metaphysical view of the Buddha. The Shtaviras divided into many schools. Convention has it that there were 18 groups. The texts and commentaries, however, mention more. The Indian Sanskrit term Stavira, meaning elder, became the Pali word Theravada, the way of the elders, in the Southeast Asian countries which subsequently adopted and preserved the teachings. In the 11th century, these teachings left India, but the Theravada tradition that exists today evolved from these early Indian beginnings. Hinayana, the small vehicle. The other major faction, the Mahasanghikas, eventually became known as Mahayanists, great vehicle Buddhists. The Mahayanists began to refer to the Theravadins as Hinayanists, small vehicle Buddhists. The comparison was meant as a derogatory term to point out the small-mindedness of the Theravadins who were working for their own salvation only, while the Mahayanists were working for the liberation of everyone. It was saying that the great vehicle will carry many to liberation, while the small vehicle will carry but one. This understanding was unwittingly adopted by early Western scholars, who then set a pattern in translation which others followed. A counterclaim also emerged through the translations of the Theravada writings, and stated that the Theravada was the original teaching, and therefore the pure, unadulterated, orthodox version. These terms and claims were basically an ancient sectarian argument brought into the modern age. They were out of context and referred to groups that existed over 2,000 years ago. These errors in translation and interpretation are now gradually being ironed out, but there are still many references to Hinayana, meaning Theravada, to be found in Buddhist works. Development of the schools. Buddhist history has been one of constant development. Schools, such as the Theravada, have gone through long processes of change and transformation, and none that exist today should be regarded as an exact replica of any group in existence at the time of the Buddha. The great councils were momentous occasions, but analysis and debate were ongoing processes throughout the ages which affected gradual change. The early Buddhist communities, Sangha, were small groups of practicing ascetics. The Buddha would teach his followers and then urge them to go and meditate in forests and caves. Naturally, when these people came together to discuss their experiences, interpretations would differ. What today would seem to be great splits in these early groups, therefore, may merely have been issues of debate, just people putting their own interpretations on their insights. During the time of the great Buddhist university at Nalanda, which flourished over 1,000 years after these early days, for example, monks of different persuasions